The Paris Principles also require that national institutions engage with the international human rights system. By the international human rights system, we mean the Human Rights Council and its mechanisms like the Universal Periodic Review and the special procedures. We also mean the treaty monitoring bodies that deal with each of the major human rights treaties, and indeed more generally.
Over the years, I think really the international community and the international human rights mechanisms have really realized both the value of NHRI contributions, but also very much understood now the unique status that they have and really the unique role they have. So we've seen that when an NHRI that is independent and effective makes a contribution to a UN mechanism, that will very much be taken into account.
We've had the UN Special Rapporteur on both sexual violence but also on violence against women come to Australia. I mean, part of that was to lift the visibility, particularly of the issue of violence against women, Indigenous women in Australia. We were able to really help her plan a visit and take her all over Australia to meet with those women and key advocates and stakeholders that she needed to. And then we had a report which formed a basis for a continuing discussion, not just with government and around funding, but also with civil society in terms of service delivery and other things.
An important role is to disseminate that information back at the national level, to hold dialogues within the country, to create that awareness, to do media work on it, so that the government cannot hide what were the concluding observations, what they were challenged on, etc.
We believe our findings are robust, that they're based on credible evidence.
The international system is a way for the institutions to advocate for their findings and recommendations, and in return receive the support of the international system in domestic advocacy and domestic persuasion.
And with treaty bodies, special procedures, whoever, you have to be able to assure yourself you're going to get some impact back in New Zealand. That's the whole point. We have a concept we call water on stone, which is basically just drip, drip, drip on the stone. So that if we're doing, let's just say it's an issue, say work for people with disability, that will appear in every convention treaty body report in the same sort of language, with the same sort of recommendation and the same thing in the UPR. So that when they look across it, as they're beginning to, they see that consistency. And as one of those drips actually wins, we can take it off and go with another.